How's everybody doing? Welcome back to my channel. This week, I'm gonna be doing an entire head tattoo in the next 2 days. So with that being said, let's get this day started. Let's go.
My name is Jason, but I go by Hads, and I'm a tattoo apprentice here in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm getting a tattoo of an Aztec deity on my head, partially for the culture, for my family's heritage, but also to seize the opportunity to have a piece of Mr. Reyes' art. I always admired people that had their head tattooed, but never knew what I wanted to get for myself. I didn't want to go the traditional route of Virgin Mary or Santa de Guadalupe. I know the head's a painful place, but go big or go home.
Like I said, I'm gonna be doing a full head tattoo. I'm excited for it. This is my first one that I'm gonna be doing that is completed, the whole entire thing. I've done a few head tattoos in the past, but never a full project. So I'm excited, and the fact that I'm putting such an amazing concept on this head is everything's gonna make sense. It's gonna tell a story. So I'm gonna be focusing on the center of the Aztec calendar, which is the incorrect name. The correct name would be Solario o Piedra del Sol o Tonal Macho. And I'm gonna be focusing on just in the face in the middle to be able to tell that story. So a lot of people know the middle of the face to be Tonatiuh, but after doing so much research and reading so many books, being able to connect the dots and being able to figure out what the middle stands for, it turns out that it is composed of 3 different deities, energies I should say, and that is Tonatiuh, Tlaltecutli, y Tlaloc. I would like to dedicate this project to the middle of El Tonal Macho, La Piedra del Sol, as many of you know it as the Aztec calendar. The middle of El Tonal Macho, it is composed by 3 different deities. Tonatiuh, el dador de vida, el quinto sol. Tlaloc, el licor de la tierra, also known as the deity of the rain. And Tlaltecutli, el señor y señora de la tierra, also connected to fertility. That is why it's in the position of giving birth. We know that it is Tonatiuh because we can see la narijera, el aliento de vida. We can also see that it's Tlaloc because we can see the coatl around the eyes. And Tlaltecutli, he always has his tongue out, and we can see it here represented as el tecpaltl, el cuchillo de obsidiana. We can also find another representation of el Tonal Macho underneath the statue of Coatlicue. And this is what the bottom of Coatlicue looks like. First, we can see Tlaloc here on the top. We can see Tlaltecutli around with the position of birth. And in the middle, we can see the sun, Tonatiuh. If we focus on this shape right here, we can see that it is a representation of Cuautli, the eagle. We can see the claws here, the tail, and the beak. They believe that Cuautli could fly so high that it was the closest thing to the sun, Tonatiuh. And if we go back to the bottom of the base of Coatlicue, we can also see the same shape represented on here too, of Cuautli. The tail, the feathers, and the beak. And the last shape I want you guys to focus on, it is on this 4 corners here, which is known as el Nahuiolin, el cuarto movimiento. And these 4 corners are represented by Tezcatlipoca Negro, Quetzalcoatl, Xipetotl, and Huitzilopochtli. Nahui, 4. Olin, movimiento. Because if it moves, it's alive. When it stops moving, it's dead. Placing the stencil was really easy. I wanted to place Tlaloc right on the top just because I feel like it's very aesthetically pleasing to look at from the front view. And as far as Tlaltecutli and Tonatiuh, I'm going to be putting them on the side to be able to design them in a way where it's going to just complete the head in a very fashionable way. Fashionable, ¿cómo se dice la palabra? Fashionable way. Day 1, I'm gonna start with Tlaloc on the top. Tlaloc meaning el licor de la tierra. Tlali Ocli. Tlali meaning tierra, Ocli meaning pulque or licor. So in English we translate to Tlali Ocli, the liquor of earth. When it comes down to the head, when I started doing the line work, I realized that the ink goes in super smooth, very fast, so I can't afford to second guess myself. I have to be able to just go in with a lot of confidence and commit.
Most painful parts are definitely in the middle, towards the middle of the skull. That's where you feel all the vibrations. Softest, probably like the outer edges of the head, the outside top of the temple area is not too bad. It's a process for sure. I mean, getting the top of your head tattooed feels like nothing I've ever experienced before.
After a few hours, I realized that the head it's a little bit easier to tattoo, but also I have to think about how it's gonna heal. Just because the head grows, you know, the hair grows super fast and the skin is super sensitive. Once it heals, it's obviously gonna lose a lot of that contrast, so it's gonna settle in into the skin and have more like a gray look. So I have to compensate for that and go a little bit darker, so that way whenever it heals, it's gonna look amazing. As far as the eye socket, I'm gonna be approaching it with a 7 brown liner with a voltage of a 5.0, and the whole entire tattoo, I'm doing it with solid black with the cover-up ink set created by Dynamic. I'm using my scribble technique to be able to give it that stone look. So as you can see, I'm moving my hand at a slow pace, but also focusing on doing the scribble technique. So when I wipe, it's weird because if I go this way, it feels good. But if I try to do that over here, the paper doesn't move, look. It just gets fucking caught. But here, it's smooth. And then if I try to go do that here, it still gets caught. So it's really, it feels like sanding paper. That's what it feels like. So would you say that, that your head is right there, up there with your stomach? Or is it the head first and then the stomach?
Nah, because I don't feel like I'm gonna tap on this. The stomach, I felt like I might have tapped. But this is a different type of pain for sure.
If you live in a hot state,
yeah,
stay hydrated. And you might be wondering why I opened it like that.
Yeah.
I was boxing yesterday and I kind of hurt my wrist a little bit when I was boxing. I don't box, I don't get on the ring, I just do it for the cardio. So don't get at me on the comment trying to be like, well, I'll fight you, bro. I don't want to fight you. I don't want none of that, bro.
Personally, me speaking, I like to have meaning behind all my tattoos, and the meaning behind the Aztec, you know, with my family being from Mexico really makes me, you know, feel a little more connected to them, a little more culture, and just also paying respect to the past, you know.
My name is Ashley Hadley, and I'm the wife of Jason Hadley, who's getting his head tattooed today. When he told me that he was gonna get his head tattooed, I wasn't that surprised because he already had 3 head tats. I was a little surprised that it was gonna be like right here. I have never seen that before, and I knew that he would have to go bald to do it, so it was a little bit of a shock in that way.
It's the forehead, my guy.
Feels like he's ripping off my forehead with a needle. Like he's got a scalpel just taking it out. As the tattoo progressed, as we worked our way from the back to the front to the forehead, I just felt my eyes getting watery, my nostrils were opening, I was able to start smelling everything. I could smell the towel, I could smell the ink, I could smell the chair that I was sitting on.
In this day 2, I'm excited to complete the whole entire head tattoo. I'm gonna be doing both sides today. I know that I'm gonna be able to finish it just because I was able to customize it for my advantage or to my advantage. So I know I'm gonna be able to complete it and also add the right amount of detail to make it stand out, because remember, the head is a very sensitive area. So adding a lot of detail will not be able to heal correctly. You have to be able to add your contrast, add your highlights on the right areas, and simplify it. I think today the stencils are going to be a lot easier to place than the top one, just because the top, it got to be perfectly centered. It has that curve shape of the head, so it's really hard to really place that stencil. But as far as today, it is more like a flat area, so it's going to be a lot easier to place these stencils side to side. And they're not symmetrical. They're meant to look symmetrical, but they're not 100% symmetrical, so it's going to make it a lot easier than to place them. And like you guys already know, I'm going to be using the cover-up set to execute the 2 sides, as well as I used it for the top. And I'm only going to be using the solid black and using the speed of my hand with the pressure of my hand to create different tones, different textures, and being able to give it that dimension around the whole head. And you can purchase this instead at the Dynamic website, dynamiccolor.com. Purchase your cover-up set, and right here on the back, if you scan this QR code, it's going to send you to my YouTube channel, so you can watch the tutorial videos that I'm going to be be posting?
Last night's sleep was rough. I mean, tossing and turning, trying to make sure the tattoo didn't get irritated or touch anything or have it get caught on the pillowcase. Day one was bad. Day one was rough. It was a lot of pain, felt like a ritual, honestly. It felt like having to tattoo my head for 6 hours straight.
As soon as I placed the stencil, I know it was gonna be an amazing tattoo. Everything fit perfectly, it was symmetrical, and it complemented the top portion of the head.
Let's get it.
What I'm going to be using is a 7mm liner, 14mm liner, and a 9 curve mag with a voltage of a 5.0 to be able to execute the rest of the tattoo. I wanted to lock in on the right side of the head because I knew that it was going to be a painful tattoo for him. Not take a lot of breaks just because I know he was going to be in pain. So I wanted to get through it as fast as possible and be able to start with the left side. I feel like the key for this project has to be able to execute one side at a good pace. So that way I can take my time on the other side and be able to give him time to breathe, have him stand up, stretch, and get the blood flowing. As far as the whole piece, I'm really excited to be able to share the significance of this project just because it has so much meaning and a lot of culture. I'm focusing on Tonatiuh, Tlaltecutli, and Tlaloc to be able to explain the history behind the Aztec calendar, which is the incorrect name. The correct name would be either Solario, Piedra del Sol, or Tonal Macho. It comes down to tattooing the side of the head or the top. It doesn't really matter what project you're doing. The best thing that I can tell you to have the best, healing process, it would be to use, and this is my personal opinion, you can execute it however you like, but from my experience, what I think works best, it is using liners, round shaders, and that's because you are able to pack it in a little bit deeper into the skull and be able to add a lot of contrast to it. The head skin is very sensitive, so that's why I gotta be in and out. I do a line and I'm out. So that's why, my bad, if I just fucking went, but that's the best advice that I can give you. Use your liners to create your shades and your contrast, your texture, your highlights, everything. I try to avoid max as much as possible. The only area that I use max is an area where I don't mind if it fades a little bit, just because I want that look to make it blend in with the hair. So that is the only reason I'm using a mag on the front side of the head, just to kind of blend it out and have the hair kind of make it look like one when it starts going back.
Felt like I was different on the inside and I didn't fit in, so I kind of wanted to make that be my exterior too. I didn't really want to fit in and look like the guy standing next to me. Tattoos nowadays, it's 2025, everybody has tattoos, everybody has, you know, something somewhere, so I wanted to separate myself once again to not be like everybody with tattoos. So I went above the shoulders and started doing my neck to my head and my face, you know, just trying to separate myself and let my individuality speak.
So I just completed one side of the head. Honestly, it was a lot easier than I imagined, but I did lock in, so I wasn't able to record a whole bunch. I didn't do a tutorial video for that area just because I wanted to get through it. I wouldn't say as fast as possible, but definitely at a good pace, so I can move on to the next side, just because I know that the head can get irritated super quick. So I wanted to focus, really get down to business and get it done. So now I'm gonna be slowing down and explaining my process a little bit better on the other side, and so I can articulate better what I'm doing and be able to explain better. So this is where I'm going to be doing the tutorial video, and I hope you guys learn something from this little part. I hope it helped you guys out. A good way that I thought about finishing the bottom of the tattoo here to really cut it off is by making the chin of the Tlatoani here of Tonatiuh super dark to create a division between his sideburn and the tattoo. So that's the first thing I'm going to be doing, and I'm sorry, it's going to be a little spicy out here. There it is. And I'm just gonna taper off that line right there just to kind of give it a a more clean look rather than messy. It's still gonna look textured though, but I definitely wanted to be intentional with how I'm going to approach that part to be able to make it look fashionable in a way. And like I said, I'm using nothing but solid black cover-up set from Dynamic, running my machine at a 5.0 voltage, and I'm using a 7-round liner. It's important to also practice your reference because it is not easy to tattoo upside down. I'm using my signature scribble technique to really give it that stone look, and I'm able to move faster because of that reason, because I'm using a lot of texture, and it's not meant to look perfect, but it is meant to look very, I guess the word intentional is the word of today, very intentional. And you're starting to see how well it's getting applied here on the bottom. I really like the way it's looking. I'm just gonna add a little bit extra, add a little dots here and there to make it look like there's stone. And there it is. So for the whole face, I'm gonna continue doing the same thing and give it the same effect. That feels nice?
Yeah. Getting my whole head, my side of my head tattooed, all the cultural pieces was just really significant to me, for my family. I'm a second generation Mexican American here, so once I found out Mr. Reyes was able to achieve on my vision of, you know, doing a cultural piece on top of my head, it was no brainer. The pain the second time around is miserable. The sides, the temples, it's such a sharp and stinging pain, versus the head was more of a burning pain, a lot more tolerable. But on the sides, I just feel like slicing me with a dull razor blade. It's just, when it came to the side of the heads, everything around the ears, behind the ears specifically, it was that sharp pain that gets you rethinking if you want to finish this tattoo.
Towards the end of this project, I wanted to give him a lot more breaks because he got the area got a little bit more sensitive, especially around the ear area. So I had to slow down my hand speed, and instead of doing super harsh lines, I ended up just doing a little bit of dots put together really close so it can look like line work and be able to have it heal correctly, but also be able to help with the pain. The way this project turned out was amazing. I really loved the way everything flows together. It just complements his head, and honestly, the meaning behind it just made it a lot more impressive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have your head tattoo, drop it down in the comments and let me know how was your experience, and were you hurting or were you able to get through it without a problem. So with that being said, if you're a tattoo artist, I hope you learned something from this video, and if you're a tattoo enthusiast, I hope you were entertained. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.